All right, well, we will go ahead and start with kind of our housekeeping items and get that in place before the training starts. Um, so we'll introduce myself first. My name is Sarah Vanover, and I'm with Kentucky Youth Advocates. I'm our early childhood policy expert. And also with me this evening, we have Debbie Brew, who is one of our hosts. She's going to be helping to monitor the chat, keep time. She's also with Kentucky Youth Advocates and works with our Face It program that focuses on preventing child abuse and child abuse awareness. Um, and so we are hosting in person, but our overall host that helps with a lot of our Face It activities is CoSares for Kids. So we just want to give a minute to acknowledge all their help to make sure that events like tonight take place. Um, Again, if you're just joining on, please put your name and your organization in the chat as a welcome to everybody. A few kind of ground rules for the evening. We're going to ask everybody to stay on mute. If you have a question, you can drop them into the Q&A section. Debbie and I will check that throughout the evening. We'll make sure that important questions get to TyiaLynn, but with as many of us that will be on the call, it'll be hard to just pause and let people speak. Now, in order to receive your child care training hours, clock hour training credit for tonight, which is 1 hour for the training, you must attend the entire time and you need to have your camera on for the entire time so that we know that you are participating and able to receive credit. At the end of this training, you will receive a survey. And in order to get your training credit, you have to complete the survey, and then the information in that will help us to assign you credit in ECE TRIS. The training credit will be in by the end of the week. I'll get it all tucked away, but you will have to complete that survey to get the credit, and it won't be in a follow-up email. So you want to make sure. I'm sorry, my dog got excited. You want to make sure that you do the survey at the end of this training so that you have access to it. After the training is over, we will send you a follow-up email that will include the recording of this training if you would like to be able to share it with staff members, watch it again, things like that. And we will also have the slides from tonight, so you don't have to like type feverishly or write. If you want to catch all the information, we'll have that for you. So that is kind of the gist for all of our housekeeping this evening. I am excited that I'm going to turn the presentation over now to TyiaLynn Scott, the Executive Director of Critically Loved. This is an organization that focuses on supporting parents of children with special needs. And so she's the expert in the field. I'm going to turn things over to her now. And we'll be here to support as needed. TyiaLynn, it's all you.
All right, thank you all. It's so nice to see everybody that's here. Like you said, I'm TyiaLynn with Critically Loved. So I am executive director of this nonprofit that was started because of my own daughter's condition. So I'm going to start sharing my screen so you all can see the PowerPoint presentation. And I'm going to turn off a video while I talk just kind of over, well, maybe I'm, all right. I'm not great with technology, so bear with me while I start sharing my screen. Okay, can everybody see that? Yeah, okay, good. So as a nonprofit, we do support families of critically and chronically ill children. This is our mission statement, that we exist to provide hope and guidance to families. And the way that we started is from my own personal experience. My thing is not progressing now. Ah, technology, you all. There we go. Okay. My own daughter was born with a life-threatening condition and spent her life in and out of the hospital. And it took me a long time to learn how to navigate her health care. And so after about 10 years of that, started this nonprofit to help other families not struggle like I did. So this is a picture of my girl when she was little. She's now 24 years old. My thing is not advancing. So the perspective that I'm doing this training from comes from kind of two angles. One is the parent who understands the struggle. Like this is more pictures of her in the hospital growing up. So I have experienced these things firsthand as a special needs parent. So I'm like on the receiving end of whose kiddos you're teaching. And then as the executive director of this nonprofit for the last 10 years, we started in 2015. This will be our 10th year. I have worked a lot with families. The same families that you're serving are the same families that I serve. So I have a vast array of experience with these families. So that's kind of where the foundation of this training comes from. And we're going to hit on three main areas tonight. We're going to start with resources available to share with parents of special needs children. So this is a really important part of your job, no matter what realm you are teaching children in, special needs children. It's really important to support not only that child that you're teaching, but the parents also. So you're maybe an organization who only supports the parents. You may be working directly with the special needs children, but providing resources, I cannot tell you how vital this is. This was like a pivotal foundational point of why Critically Loved was started. And we provide those practical resources like what do you do about medical bills? How do you navigate health insurance? There's lots of denied medical claims. How do you get things that prove they're out of network? What about different therapies? So all that practical side is super, super important for families to not like struggle through that and already know where those resources are. So one great way to even have a basis for where do you find those resources for the families you're serving are by partnering with other organizations to serve families more completely. And you may be thinking, well, I'm not really a nonprofit. I don't, I'm a for-profit, I work for a for-profit business. I'm just a teacher in a classroom. But be thinking about like out of the box ways that you can partner with them, reach out to them, find out what those resources are that are very specific to the families that you're serving. Like I wish I could give you a one-page sheet of this and be like, this is what you need to share with your parents. It's not. It's going to be very specific to your geographical area. It's going to be specific to the families you're serving and what needs that they have. Is it developmental? Is it medical? Is it behavioral? So do a little bit of research, take the initiative, even if you're just a teacher in the classroom where you think that that's not really in your job description, just please understand that the parents that you're serving will really, really benefit from that. And therefore the children in the home will very much benefit from that. Okay, so here's a great resource, nonprofits. So if you are a for-profit business or a nonprofit, other nonprofits in your area are just such a great partner. And knowing like what services they provide that will be at no cost to families most of the time is just a really, really, really great resource to share with the families that you are serving. And here's an example of a for-profit company. For Functional Therapy is one of our partner organizations. They are a therapy place that provides OT, PT in Louisville, Kentucky. They're one of our partners, and they share the events that we have. This right here is listed, a medical waiver binder. We let families come and assemble medical binders that is really personalized to the child. And they're just sharing that with the families that they serve. And so by partnering with us as a nonprofit, they are learning ways to support their families and to lessen the load and to help fill in those gaps of things that they don't do, but they know will be a benefit to the families that they're serving. And not only are they promoting our services, but we're promoting their services. And so when I'm working with a family as a nonprofit, and a family comes to me and they're like, oh, I really need to find a new OT, a new PT. Of course, I'm going to recommend them to functional therapy because we work a lot with them. So we're like, have this cohesiveness in referring families to each other. And that's a great thing to do to work on building those relationships in your community with those organizations that can help serve your families more and more. And this is just another way to say it. They can help fill in gaps. So for an example, Down Syndrome of Louisville is one of our partners. And so is Sproutlings, who provides pediatric early childhood services in our area and for special needs kiddos. And they will refer families to us when they have a kiddo in the hospital. They'll call us and say like, hey, can you deliver a hospital comfort bag to the child? Our family is in the hospital. We are happy as a nonprofit to serve their family in that way. And again, like I said, we're referring families to them that can use their services, and that's whether it's a for-profit company or a nonprofit company. So it may be something that you haven't thought about as an organization, is to partner with all of these, nonprofit, for-profit, so that you all together can really work to support families better. And that can be at any level that you are at in this field, whether it is management, owner of the company, a teacher in the classroom, an aide. You can be working to build those relationships and to find those resources, and walk in the door, call them and be like, hey, I'm serving families, especially these families, in this way. How can we work together to support them better together? These right here are just a few of our partner organizations. We at Critically Loved have 70 partners, and those are pediatric health providers and also nonprofits. So I know she said to leave it on mute, but I'm going to ask this question. I would like a few people to answer it for me. So as a teacher or organization, what nonprofit could you partner with in your area to provide more complete support to families? So if you have an answer for that, if you could unmute and speak to what you all think. I want you all to be thinking of ideas. Or it could be somebody that you're already partnered with that's a nonprofit in your area, and tell about that experience.
TyiaLynn, I will break the ice and start off by
Okay.
saying, since many of you are from all over the state, you may not know in your area where a lot of the nonprofits are, but everybody on here has a child care health consultant in their area that is free to reach out to, and they probably know a lot of the nonprofits that work with children with disabilities. So if you don't know a nonprofit pediatric therapist that you want to refer to, and I've seen centers do this a lot where they say, okay, we're going to send all your cases, all the referrals to you, but then maybe you could come on site and do the therapy here for us, for these kiddos, so they're in their natural environment. But remember that your child care health consultant can help give you some of those recommendations.
So maybe just a show of hands, if somebody doesn't have an example right now, and I'll try to scroll through the screens. Who here serves families with autism? Raise your hand if you serve families with autism. Okay, so that's maybe a fourth of you, a fifth of you. Okay, is everybody aware of FEAT, Families for Effective Autism Treatment? Nope. So if you serve families with autism and you're not aware of them, it's FEAT, Families for Effective Autism Treatment. So a couple of people are. That's good. You're raising their hands. That's good. That's just an example of someone, like, it fits the demographic that you're serving, of the children you're serving, and it's a way that you can support parents by having that as a reference for those families. So they do a lot of work across the state. It's a great resource for families to get in contact with them, to learn about medical waivers available. What do they do when they're waiting for medical waivers to be approved? How can they connect with other families in their area that have autism? So they are a great resource for that. So spina bifida is the same way. Down syndrome is the same way. So if whatever families you're serving, whatever condition they have, learn about resources that are serving all of Kentucky, so that you can point families to that. Because a lot of organizations, like us included, we have Zoom options. So even if it's a family, even if you're in 100 miles away from where we are, it doesn't mean we can't still serve your family, because they could join our support groups via Zoom. And there probably are a lot of other nonprofits that are doing offerings like that to connect families to each other for that kind of support. And that's just really important. All right, we are going to move on. And something else to think about, I'm going to go back for just a second, is to think about businesses also that could support your families. And so not just nonprofits, but companies that are available to, maybe there's specific OTPT that are really good at serving the demographic you serve. So just learning about what kind of, not that you need to be making medical recommendations, but just having referrals for businesses also in your area would be really helpful. All right, so something else that's really good. Just a side note, real quick, for the managers that are here today. This is also a great way to market your business as well. When you're going into nonprofits and other organizations to say, how can we work together to promote each other? They're going to be promoting your company. A lot of our partners, we promote their business. They're not a nonprofit, so it's a great marketing tool. That's just a side note, not really having to do with serving families, but. The second thing we're going to talk about is providing something tangible as a welcome. And so I have this, just a second. I've lost the view of the whole group. I'm so bad with technology, y'all. Okay, here we go. I lost them again. All right, this is, maybe I stop screen sharing for a second so that you can see what I'm holding up. Okay, this is a medical binder that we provide. Is something tangible, and it's provided to all of our families near the onset of a diagnosis. Our partners carry this, and a lot of our facilities that we partner with keep this as a welcome to our practice finder. And this is, it has divider tabs to organize a child's health care. It has things that took me 10 years to figure out how to manage my child's health care information here, examples of IEPs and 504 plans, medical summary templates. It has this care brochure, which we'll talk about later. It talks about our counseling grant we have available. It's just a great resource. And a lot of our partner organizations and even our pediatric healthcare providers that are even daycare providers will use this. It has their logo, our logo, the child's name, and they'll just give that to the family at the beginning. And a lot of teachers do this anyway, like a welcome to the classroom or welcome to our organization. Something tangible is it's so important to families, because these families that are getting this new diagnosis, a lot of times their whole world is turning upside down, and they are trying to get their footing. They're trying to figure out how to manage all the therapy and doctor appointments, and it's a lot all at once. So if you give them something tangible that has those resources in there, and it's great to have them just on a one-page summary, so that's not too overwhelming for what's specific to them, then it's really great to give that to them so they can refer back to it later, and they can have those resources when they're ready for them, because they may not be ready for them at that time. We gotta start all over again, don't we? I'm so sorry. We'll get there. All right. So those are the medical binders we just talked about, which I just showed you before, that we can provide these to your families. We are happy to do that. You're welcome to reach out to me. Debbie or Sarah, if you could drop my email address into the chat, that would be amazing. And these are something we can just personalize to your facility that you work at. I can ship them to you. There's no cost to your organization, or ask me to send you one, and you can steal whatever ideas you want to out of them. There's no competition here. If you just want to make your own, something to hand the parents at the beginning of when they first come to you is just really, really helpful for those families. All right, so then this is something we were talking about earlier, of those resources. So that's just creating one page of a flyer resource. They need that at the beginning when they first come to you, and then they need to have access to that anytime that they need it. So they may not be ready for those resources when they're first getting services from you or in your classroom, or you start meeting with the families, but they are going to need that down the road. So maybe have it in a file folder on the wall, or have it on a bulletin board, or just somewhere that they can grab that at any time that they need it, so that they feel like they are always being informed and are ready with the resources whenever they have them. And make sure that you keep it up to date as well. So I always put at the bottom of our documents, updated, and then the date, because those resources change over time. And sometimes you may have some that are in service for a while, or who they're serving kind of shifts a little bit. So just make sure that you're updating that often, and maybe set a reminder on your calendar to look at that every 6 months. And I know it seems like a lot, especially if you're in a classroom, to have to come back to do these things. But the more that you can serve the parents of the children you're serving, the more it benefits that child. And then another option is to create a web page as well. So like on Critically Loved's website, we have one page that is just of resources. And that is a great thing to keep. Again, that makes it available to them at any time that they can access it. So if they know, they can go to your website and they can click on resources and find a web page of all the resources that their family needs. And it has a clickable link. And that's so incredibly helpful if that's something that you're able to create. All right, we're going to move on to the second phase of this training, how to reduce child abuse and special needs children in your care, because this is vitally, vitally important. So the first thing is to learn signs of abuse and to report it. Special needs kiddos are at 3 times more risk than typical children of having child abuse. And so we see this at Critically Loved as such important work, so much so that we talk about it at each touch point we have with families. We are working hard to reduce child abuse on the back end. And the first thing as a frontline worker, if you're working with special needs kiddos, is to learn the signs of abuse. Luckily, Face It, who is a lot of responsible for this and a lot of other things in this realm, has so many resources specific to you all, to child care workers. Here's a clickable link that is going to be in the slides, and I'm sure that they can drop it in the chat as well. But it has.
I can't see the
I don't know if
screen.
you know, but your slide is not shared.
Oh, it's not. Okay. See, I'm really bad with technology, y'all. All right. I'm not sharing my screen. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's see.
It's working now.
Okay. Can y'all see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for letting me know that. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So Face It has this website link right here. And I think you can click on it from I can click on it from my shared slide. If you can't, then it can be dropped in the chat. So they have all kinds of resources there for you that show exactly what to look for signs of abuse on a child who's in your care. And Kentucky is a mandatory reporting state. And that means if you suspect abuse and you do not report it, you are breaking the law. This is super, super important. Even if you are not 100% sure, if you suspect it, you are required to report it. And here's the number where you can report it, 877-KYSAFE1. And I just want to encourage everyone to make sure that you are familiar with the signs, a 10-4 rule, know any sign of abuse, and then report it if you see it. That's the number one. And the second way that we can really work at preventing child abuse as child care workers is to teach parents about abuse. They need to know the signs to watch for abuse on their child from other caregivers. They need to learn about stress relieving techniques. A super, super easy way is to share a care brochure with them. So this is just the acronym for Community, Away, Refresh, and Joy. This is a pamphlet that we helped develop with Face It several years ago, and it just has signs of abuse from other caregivers, and then how do you take care of yourself to lower your stress level. So special needs families, their stress level is just so much higher than a typical family, and they don't often see opportunity to take that time for themselves, to have self-care and to lower their stress level, because a lot of them are, working and also caring for their child. There's just no margin. And so making sure that they're aware of some practical ways that they actually can get a break and they can take a few minutes and they can know the resources that are available to them. So important. And how easy is it just to hand them a pamphlet? And Face It makes these free for anybody who wants them. You can go on their website. The link that is on the screen right now, and again, it'll be a clickable link in the slides if you want to look at this later. It's so easy just to go on the website, click the link, they're shipped directly to you. You can hand them out to your classroom, and it's such a great way to at least have a conversation about it and to get something in their hands that, takes them all of 5 minutes to read, and is really, really helpful. And with you having frontline access to these kiddos, you have a front row seat opportunity. And so I really hope that everyone that's here will utilize that. The third way is to support them. And so, like I talked about, the stress level of special needs parents is really, really high. They need support. They may not even know what support they need. They just feel like they're drowning. I feel like that a lot. Two of my 3 kiddos have special needs. And there's a lot of times I feel like I'm drowning and I'm having a hard time getting my head above water. And so me knowing what supports are available, me knowing who I can lean on, where I can go, what things I need to do, what steps I need to take to get out of that drowning spot is really important. And so helping families who don't know what those resources are and don't have that support in their own circles is a really great way to reduce child abuse in special needs children. We're going to get more into that in just a little bit. All right, so this is, again, the question to everybody. Could someone share a 2-minute example of finding signs of abuse and reporting it? Something that happened maybe in your facility, in your classroom, as a teacher. Does anybody have an experience of finding abuse and reporting it?
I do. This is actually my story. When I was with my birth family, they abused me pretty much every way, and I would hoard food and everything, and that's how the neighbors knew to call in.
So you had neighbors that reported the abuse on your behalf? Yeah. That's so good. I'm really glad that they were aware of that and able to report that in. Were you removed from the family at that point?
Yes.
Good. That's really good. Thank you for sharing that, Isabella.
Mm-hmm.
That personal story. Does anybody else have a story of when they were in the classroom and they saw signs of abuse on a child?
Somebody
or in any setting?
About really bad diaper rash, where the baby's diaper wasn't being changed at home. I guess a lot of childcare providers will notice that they change the diaper before the baby goes home, and maybe the next morning they come back in with the same diaper as when they left, and those kiddos get terrible diaper rash.
Wow. Was that reported? Did they say it was reported? It didn't say in the chat if it was reported or not.
Yeah, they said yes.
Oh, it was. Okay, awesome. That's great. All right, thank you for sharing that.
I have a question. Mm-hmm. So about the diaper rash. So they reported it, but what was the findings?
I can answer on a personal note. I have taught in a child care, a child abuse report before with diaper rash as one of the signs. They do look at multiple things. We had documented that we didn't feel like the diapers were being changed, and the diaper rash was it was a contributing factor. But there were other things that they looked at too, as far as overall hygiene of the baby. We had a toddler that when you tried to change her diaper, she tried to really fight you back. She did not want anybody in her personal space. And that was part of it. So sometimes, we have kiddos that get diaper rash really bad because they have sensitive skin, but we have other kiddos that get diaper rash because nobody is changing those diapers. So there are factors that they look at to get a full picture.
We had a child that had special needs, and the father didn't see the special needs, and so he punished him the same way he did his other child who didn't have the special needs. And so he came in one day with handprints on his bottom when we changed his diaper.
Mm.
And of course, we had to call CPS, but we also explained to the father that we were going to have to call, and he said he understood. And they did. They came and saw us. They went to the home. They talked to the father, all that kind of stuff. And really nothing was done.
But I'm glad you still reported it. So that's what you can do is report whenever you see something. So even though it maybe didn't have the outcome you were hoping, or maybe it was enough to change the behavior in the home, I don't know. So we don't really know what the effect is going to be of us reporting, but we still have to do it. So thank you for doing that, Lynn.
Yes, and that's what we hoped for, is that it would change the situation and make them more aware that,
Yeah.
that people are watching, and he does need to handle things differently.
Yeah. Was there an issue after that with the child?
No,
Good.
nothing
So
else
maybe
that
that
we
was all.
saw. So I think it worked.
That's good. That's really good. And maybe they provided alternate ways for him to discipline the child, like ideas he hadn't thought of. So there's always a benefit, I think, to those kind of situations, even if their child isn't removed.
And there's a benefit to children getting to stay with their birth parents if the birth family just needs resources and training.
Yeah.
And if DCBS can come in and give that training, can help them with the resources that they need, and then the family can stay together, that's awesome. That's our ultimate goal. If the child continues to be in a dangerous situation, that's when we need to worry about finding care outside of the birth family.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that. So that was a great segue, Sarah, into supporting families. So we are going to talk about what are ways to support the parents of children with special needs that you're serving. So know that when you're supporting the parents, that really is supporting the children. So you may think that it's kind of a shift and, oh, we want to do all these things for special needs kiddos, but what really needs to happen is what's happening in the home. Those parents really, really need support. And a lot of them just don't know what support they need. So here's the first thing. It is just that. How do you support parents of families, especially these kids that you're serving? So that's the word I want to really focus on. You're not just working a job, you are serving families. So if we can have this like pivot in our heart of having a servant's heart, and it not just getting a paycheck, not just meeting these needs, and not just doing this job we set out to do, and make that shift to think about how we're serving families, that can make such a huge difference, and it will spill out into the work that you're doing and onto the parents of the children that you're serving. And I think most people that are in the special needs childcare providing world, most of them start out like that. And I think it's very easy for us, the longer that we're in these roles, to kind of get away from that. I know I have to be reminded, that's the families that I serve, and I have to be reminded often to like reshift my gaze to have this servant's heart, and it not be just accomplishing these tasks and goals that I've set out to do in this nonprofit world. And so if we can really think about that, having that pivot of serving these families, it helps us come at them with a softer heart and maybe a more compassionate heart in what we are protruding onto our students and in the classroom, and even in the parents when they're picking them up or around us. It really does overflow onto all of them. And so that's my first challenge, is let's just really think about serving them. The second area is self-care for you, everybody who's attending this class. Let's just be real. Special needs childcare is tough. It is a tough business to be in, and it can be exhausting. And if you, the childcare worker, are not taking care of yourself, again, that will spill out onto the families that you're serving. So this is a big challenge that I have, and I have to be very intentional myself to do this. I'm a working mom, I'm a special needs parent, and if I'm not taking care of myself, it affects those who are in my care. It affects those who I'm serving. And so that is a really, really, really big part of this. And I do want to open up the floor and have us be thinking about outside of the box ways to do this. So I'm going to first, before I open up the floor, this is my challenge. I want a couple of people to share what's one thing you're doing in each of these areas to be renewed once a month, once a week, and once a day. So like the once a month thing is something bigger, once a week is a little bit smaller, once a day is something small we're doing every single day. So I'm going to give you my example so you all can get some wheels turning here, because honestly, this might be a completely foreign concept to you all. If you all are working individuals, which if you're in this class, I'm assuming you are, and especially if you also have children yourself, or you have your own challenges that you're trying to overcome, this can really get put on the back burner. I think especially as women, we're so busy taking care of everybody else that we don't take care of ourselves. And we may not even know what things we enjoy because we've gotten so lost in the busyness of all the day-to-day things. So first, I want you to like make that shift in your mind to like, okay, this is important. And what things do I enjoy? When I first went down this road about 10 years ago, I had no idea what I enjoyed doing. I honestly didn't. I had to think back to like before I had kids, before special needs, before all the craziness of life. What did I enjoy doing? Oh, I enjoyed being outside. I used to play on a sand volleyball team. Okay, I'm going to try that again. I'm going to like step out of my comfort zone. I'm going to do some things that I enjoy and figure out what that is. I tried a bunch of different things. And here's what I landed on. Here's my things that I decided to do. Once a month, I try to go hiking or kayaking. That's refilling to me. Somebody else maybe be like, that sounds miserable. Well, reading a book, y'all, sounds miserable to me. So y'all give me my outside things. Once a week, I take a Sunday afternoon nap. I don't get it. I didn't get it 2 weekends in a row, and I really felt it. Like my Sunday afternoon nap is something really important. I try to protect my calendar to do. Once a day, I try to get outside. That is renewing. I try to take my dog for a walk, just be outside for a few minutes, soaking in some vitamin D if it's not raining. And that's my once a day thing. It can be reading for 10 minutes. It can, whatever it is that's renewing to you, going and shutting yourself in the closet and turning on some music with some headphones. What is it? What is it that you're doing once a month, once a week, once a day to renew you? And this is not selfish, because when you are renewed, then those around you benefit. Those you are serving benefit. Those families that you are pouring into benefit. I know that old cliche that you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, it is true. Let me just tell you. And this is not something selfish. So if I could get a couple of volunteers to give me some examples of these once a month, once a week, once a day.
I like to once a month. I like to go to the hair salon, get a manicure, and get a pedicure. I do those
Nice.
once a month. Once a week, I'm like you. I love to take naps. Just clear my mind, take a nap. Don't worry about nothing. Deal with stuff once I wake up. And once a day, I like to eat something sweet. I like chocolate, a piece of candy, something just for a second. Just get away for a second, eat something sweet, and then go back to my flow of things.
I love those. You did so good. I love that. Okay. Somebody else. Let's hear it. She already
I'll
knows. She
go.
already knows what renews her.
I'll
It's
go.
good.
Okay, go
I'll
ahead.
go. Oh, I'm sorry. Once a month, I like to do facials or massage. Those help me a whole lot because I recognize I get tense and sit with my shoulders up. So when I get a massage, that helps relieve the stress. Once a week, I like doing date nights with my husband because when we go on date nights, we don't talk about kids or nothing like that. We're just talking about each other or a movie we watched or something. So my mind is completely off of it. And once a day, I spend time with God early in the morning, which helps a whole lot to start my day. So,
Girl, you got some good ones. You got some I need to aspire to. Those are awesome. Catherine, did you have something?
Yeah, I did. I just wanted to say that once a week, since I don't have children, although I am in the school system or whatever, I like to attend my student ball games or their
Oh,
extracurricular
good.
activities. And then once a day, I just like to either send someone a good message, someone that I hadn't talked to in a while on Facebook, just send them a text, maybe give them a phone call or something. And then once a month, I just like to get a pedicure for myself and just enjoy my day. Enjoy myself for
Okay, I'm going
something.
to challenge you a little bit, okay? Because at
Mhm.
least on the daily thing,
Uh-huh.
that's something you're doing for somebody else.
But it's for me because it's fulfilling.
Okay, it is fulfilling for you.
It's
So that's the
fulfilling.
key.
Yeah, it's
That's the
fulfilling.
key. And there's a difference between something being fulfilling and renewing.
Yes.
You see the difference there? So fulfilling is, I feel good about this. I'm accomplishing something. Renewing is, oh, this is good. So just be thinking about that as you're
Okay, I'll
thinking through
think
your
about that.
activities.
And I will send you a direct email with it.
I love it. I love all these ideas.
All right,
And
thank you.
yeah, anybody else have something they want to share real quick?
I'll go. I don't really have
Okay.
anything that I do ritually every month, every 2 weeks, but working with special needs children and children in general, I like to, throughout the day, recognize God and thank Him for that special individual with those special abilities, and tell Him that I know it's not of any fault of their own. And that if they had a choice, they probably wouldn't choose to be this way. So it's my heart that allows me to be able to experience them in a different light of saying, working with them or caring for them, to be able to experience them and give them a different level of experience or development or love.
So you're really appreciating their differences.
Yes.
Yes, that's really good. That's very good. And it's not, when you're serving special needs families, this is totally not related, but when you're serving special needs families, it's not about feeling sorry for the individual. It's learning to
Exactly.
appreciate their uniqueness and to use your example of how God made them and to be different. And yeah, I love that. That's really good. And that helps shift that mindset of, well, I'm not going to get off on that
And it
topic.
helps you.
I
It
could
helps you
talk.
to shift your
Yes,
mindset to be grateful even
it
more, and
is.
to love what you do even more. So.
Yeah, just having that posture of gratitude and seeing the beauty
Absolutely.
among the ashes. And yeah, I could talk about
Absolutely.
that
I
all
agree.
day. Yeah,
Thanks.
it's something that I really try to work hard at. So that's really good. Okay, these are all good. So hopefully this has gotten I think I'm just marking up the screen now. What am I doing? I don't know how there's like green all over the screen. As hopefully getting your wheels turning in ways that you can pour into yourself and to be self-renewed once a week, once a day, once a month. And shoot me an email when you all come up with those. I would love to hear all of the ones that you all are doing and maybe new ones that you're going to add and make this a priority so that you're filled so that you can pour out into these families. All right, we are going to move on. Another option is do you all see that green all over the screen? This is cracking me up. I don't know how that got there. I'm sure that I did it somehow, but okay. So another way is to host opportunities for families to connect to one another. I realize this is like, there's so many people represented here and your facility may not have resources to do this. However, there are other organizations that do have resources to do this. So even if you all cannot provide this opportunity for families to connect to one another, surely there are ones in your area that do, like us, Critically Loved. We provide events all throughout the year. There's, FEET that I mentioned earlier. They provide those opportunities. So reach out to the nonprofits that you're partnering with, that you're finding out the resources of. Find out what events they're offering in your area. Like maybe you sign up as a parent with those organizations so that you're notified when they have those opportunities, and then you can share it with your families. A lot of our partners do this, and they just will post it on their social media. They will send it out in an email. You could print it out on a page once a month and hand it to your families. What are ways that you can tell them how to connect with other families? We used to, as a nonprofit, let me see how I'm doing on time. Okay, a few more minutes. We used to have a parent match program where we had special needs families matched up with younger ones. The older ones were volunteers. They're matched up with younger ones just diagnosed. And we would try to match up their diagnoses. Well, they weren't always a great fit because of their personalities. They didn't always make it as long-term relationships. But we found out if you put them in a room together, they will find their people. And those people help support each other. And we hear all the time, in our support groups and at our events, oh, it's just so good to be around people who understand the challenge. They understand the medical terminology I'm using. It's so good. And that can help really lower that parent stress level And again, it's kind of a backdoor way to address the child abuse issue when you're helping lower that stress level for parents, because these are typical parents. This is special needs parents. Their stress level is way up here. It doesn't take anything to dump it over the edge, like we talked about before, and them feel like they're drowning. So ways that we can do that is providing that organic support for them to connect with other families. Super, super, super important. Here's just a few examples of things that we offer. Special Needs Moms Night Out. We do professional massages, arts and crafts, dinner, and it's a great way to let families connect with each other. And we fill up with 100 moms like within a few minutes of opening up to existing moms. There's such a big need for it. All right, then we're going to promote the opportunities with the other families and with your partners. And then here's the greatest impact. And if you get one thing from this training, I hope it's this. If you want to support the special needs parents, yes, provide them the resources, yes, provide them opportunities to connect with each other, but they just want to feel seen and loved. And so if we as a community and the leaders and the child care providers can wrap our arms around these families and help them feel seen and heard and loved, it will have such an impact. I can't tell you how much as a special needs parent that you feel isolated so much, because when you're caring for a special needs child in the home, especially if it's a highly a big need of that special need, and it takes a lot of focus and time, and there's all these therapies and doctors and hospital stays, and you're just trying to make it through the day, there is huge isolation for those families. So if you're caring for their child while they go to work, and then they come back and they pick up their child, they're just getting home, getting them dinner, getting them in bed, and then their whole day starts again. There is not that connection and community very often, especially on a daily basis. But if they are seeing you on a daily basis, you all have this huge opportunity to wrap your arms around these families and help them still to feel seen and loved. They don't have cheerleaders at their house being like, oh, you cleaned up poop for the third time today. Yay, I'm so glad you're doing a good job. Like, nobody does that for any of us, right? That'd be so nice if we had those like cheerleaders in our house, but we do not have that. And so I hope you take this opportunity to see the value that you can bring to these families to help them to feel seen and loved. Okay, so what are ways that we can do that? Number one, you can you can build relationship with them, and you do that by just being there. You're their teacher, right? You're in the classroom, you're serving this family. This is an opportunity for you to build a relationship. When they're talking to you, be present. Look them in the eye. Ask them how they're doing. That goes a long, long way. When they're picking up their kiddo and they have your undivided attention, and you're looking at them and you really care about something that they're going through, and you ask, like, how are you doing today? How are you really doing today? I cannot tell you how appreciated they will be for that. And then the next time you see them, maybe a couple of days later, hey, how are you doing with that? How are you doing with this issue that you were talking about the other day? And you're tuning out the distractions around, and you're just looking at them and really have a genuine care about their answer. I can't tell you all what kind of impact that's going to have on that family. And they're going to go home and they're going to be like a better parent to their child. They are going to feel loved and seen by somebody. And it can have this ripple effect that spills out from them onto their child and the next person that they are with. And if we think about that in our job of having that servant's heart and seeing them and just loving them, that is just a great, great way to do this job and to do it well. All right, that is all I have. So are there questions that anybody has for me? Were there any questions in the chat, Sarah and Debbie?
TyiaLynn, there was one question. I answered it a little, but you might want to expand on that. Some centers, some childcare programs or businesses may have policies where they say that you have to tell the director if you suspect abuse. And then, how does that work with reporting? I just mentioned that you can always ask somebody you can ask your director to be there with you when you report, but ultimately, legally, the responsibility is on you if you saw the potential signs and you don't report it. If you go to your director and say, I think you should report this, and you think they have reported it, but they never did, then it can come back on you. So the most important thing is that when you see potential abuse, you report it. And that's kind of where the law is. And if the center policy disagrees with that, then the center policy isn't in line with the mandatory reporting laws and probably needs to be revised.
And reported.
Yeah.
If your director is telling you not to report it. Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions about anything we went over today?
I do. My situation is a whole lot different. I work in this, we have a daycare in the school system, and it's for teachers' kids. And I was also a special needs aide in elementary school for like 6 years. And so now that I'm working, it's like a daycare, I'm recognizing the signs of, maybe high functioning autism or ADHD or certain things like that. What's a good way to communicate with parents possibly? Because I had one kid and I felt like he probably needed a weighted vest because he was just really totally out of control, and maybe something to help center him. We also got him a lap dog, a weighted lap stuffed animal to when we sat on the carpet. But the parents, they were kind of, I just talked to them about the signs, but they were kind of, I don't know, it made them feel, I don't know if I handled it the right way, because I've always been an aide, so I've never been on the other side of, talking about things that I've seen. So how do you go about communicating that with
I
the
would say
parents?
the more gentle, the better. So I think what you did was great. And in the end, it's the parent's decision to get that child evaluated and get them additional help. I mean, if there's no abuse going on, you see that there'd be advantages to them getting additional therapies, but planting those little seeds, I think, is a great way to do that in the most gentle way you can. Because a parent it's so hard to accept a diagnosis for your child. There's grieving the loss of plans for your child. There's all kinds of processing for that. So you planting little seeds along the way, I think, is a great way that you're handling that. Debbie or Sarah, do y'all have any additional thoughts on that?
I always encourage childcare providers to notice. We can't diagnose, none of us are medical professionals. We don't have that ability, but you know these kids so well, and you spend 7 or 8 hours a day with them. And so when I talk to the parents, I always say, I've noticed that Mark is doing this. I've noticed that he's doing this. And I just wonder if you've ever told the pediatrician about that. Keep notes. I get myself a 99-cent wire-bound notebook on particular kids, and I just take notes of things I've noticed. On this day, on this time, he had an accident and wet himself, but he didn't know why he had wet himself. And so what does that mean? I'm thinking, oh my goodness, maybe he had a petit mal seizure, but I'm not saying it. I'm waiting for the pediatrician to take the fall. He can be the one to get into, or she can be the one to take, get in the fight with him. And I'm just saying, I've noticed that this is happening. And noticing, sometimes you can have a gentle conversation at pick up or drop off, but sometimes it's a conversation that you need to have in a parent teacher conference and just say, we've noticed these things, and we think maybe you might want to get information from your pediatrician or get an evaluation.
And it's being okay if they don't, because that you can't force them to do any of those things. But that's really great advice there. Does anyone else have any questions?
Actually, you know what, TyiaLynn, we are just about at time. So sorry, if anyone else has any questions, feel free to drop them in chat and we can follow up with you via email. And I'm going to let Sarah, if you want to go ahead and close us out.
So we are going to be sharing a survey with you. Completion of that survey is how we will make sure that you were here the whole time, and will be the information I use to enter into ECE TRIS so that you get your training credit. So please go ahead and fill out the survey now. It won't come in the follow-up email. You need to click on the link and complete this at this time. The follow-up email I'll send within the next week, and it will have the PowerPoint in it. It'll have the link to the recorded webinar, and I'll put some other things in there, like a link to the Face It page, where you might, want to go look at the child care provider information on, preventing abuse, being aware of possible indicators of abuse, things of that nature. So we'll follow up that. We are going to start doing these trainings quarterly. Every 3 months, we're going to do a free 1-hour training that focuses on an area of special education. I am an autism mama, and this is a huge passion for me. I've worked in early childhood for 26 years, and I just feel like we need more training on special ed to do our jobs well, because we know that like 1 in 10 kids has got some type of developmental delay or disability, and you have a classroom full of 20 kids, you've got a couple of kiddos in there. So and we also know that budgets are tight for childcare programs, and so free training never hurts. So keep on the lookout, and they will collaborate with us at DCC to help send these out. So we're really grateful for them.